Hello and welcome to this Blender tutorial. In this video I will show you how to create this chess animation. Let's get right into it. First off, we will start by animating the pawn that is going to take the shattered pawn. Move your timeline forward a bit and insert a keyframe by pressing I. Next, move your cursor to the pawn that will be shattered by pressing Shift S and choosing cursor to selected. Then press Shift S again, choose selection to cursor, and make sure you move the timeline forward again for the animation to work properly. When you're done, press I again to insert another keyframe. If we now press space to play the animation, we can see the pawn moving. You can adjust the animation by dragging the keyframes in the timeline until you are satisfied with the motion. Next up, we want to hide the pawn that gets shattered exactly at the moment of impact. To do this, move your timeline with the left and right arrow keys until you reach the impact frame. When you found the frame, go to the Object Properties panel and scroll down to Visibility. Hover over Show in Viewports and press I to insert a keyframe. Then move one frame forward, uncheck Show in Viewports and insert another keyframe by pressing I again. As you can see, the pawn now disappears right when the impact happens. Next, since my chessboard isn't ideal for physics simulations, I will add an additional ground. Press Shift A and add a plane, then scale it with S and switch to side view to extrude it downward using E. In the physics properties, add a rigid body and change the type to passive. This ensures the object doesn't fall down and allows other rigid body objects, the fractured pawn pieces, to collide with it properly. Since we don't need to see the plane, you can simply hide it by pressing H. Now we will create the shattering effect for the pawn. For this, we need to install the Cell Fracture add-on. Go to Edit, Preferences, Get Extensions, search for Cell Fracture, and click Install. Next, we will draw in the impact area. On the left, select the Annotation tool, then press N to open the sidebar. Under the Tool tab, change Placement to Surface. Now you can draw directly onto the mesh. Draw the impact area where the pawn will be hit however you like. To apply the Cell Fracture, go to the top menu and select Object, Quick Effects and Cell Fracture. This opens the Cell Fracture panel. Set the point source to Annotation Pencil and change noise to around 0.5 to add some randomness. You can adjust the source limit to control the number of fractures, but I leave the rest at the default settings. Under Collection, type in a name for the fracture collection and click OK. As you can see, the pawn is now fractured. Since we don't need the annotations anymore, select the Annotation tool again and press D, then right click to erase the drawing. To make selecting the pieces easier, move your timeline to the frame where the original pawn is hidden. Highlight one of the fractured pieces, then go to Object, Rigid Body, Add Active. This adds an active rigid body to all fractured pieces. Next, move the timeline back to the frame just before the original pawn gets hit and go to the physics properties. Hold Alt and left click Dynamic to disable the rigid body for all pieces. Then insert the keyframe by hovering over it and pressing I. Move one frame forward, enable Dynamic again, and insert another keyframe so the rigid body will activate when the pawn hits the fractured pieces. Now we want to hide the fractured pieces while the original pawn is still visible. Go to the Object Properties, move the timeline to the frame where the original pawn is hidden, and under Visibility, insert the keyframe for Show in Viewports and Renders. Then move one frame back to where the original pawn is visible again, uncheck Show in Viewports and Renders, and insert another keyframe. To apply this visibility animation to all fractured pieces, select the highlighted fractured object again, press Ctrl L and choose Link Animation Data. If done correctly, scrubbing through the timeline should show the fractured pieces hidden when the original pawn is visible, and the other way around. If something doesn't line up, you can simply adjust the keyframes in the timeline. When you now play the animation from frame 1, you should see the fractured pawn falling apart exactly at the moment of impact. To now add physical impact from the moving pawn, we also need to give it a rigid body. Go to Physics Properties, add a rigid body, disable Dynamic, and enable Animated. Now, when you play the animation from the start, you should see the pawn physically colliding with and breaking the fractured pieces. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And in the meantime, have fun experimenting with this wizard chess style animation.